You want to play more Diablo 4 before release? I've good news for you. From May the 12th to the 14th, the Server Slam event is coming. If you missed the previous betas and early access, that is actually fantastic for you because you can earn all the past rewards. But first, what is the Server Slam? During the Server Slam, everyone will have access to the game, so it's kind of like an open beta. You don't have to pre-order as it seems. You can play the prologue and the entirety of Act 1. AKA exactly what you could do in previous content before, but with a bonus here, and that is all the patch updates being done. You can play the Barbarian, Druid, Necromancer, Rogue, and Sorcerer, and as you might know or not, the Necromancer was quite overpowered. Absolutely broken, to be honest. And some of the dungeons were a little bit boring. There was some backtracking happening. You had to go back and forth. You were kind of slow. Some timers were on and off, and so on. Good thing though, they released a gigantic patch with the patch notes. We'll go more about this later, checking the timestamps below. That's fixing a lot of these problems. Some heads up though here. Any progress made will not carry over to the release. Players may level up to level 20, but you can obviously keep playing on afterwards to just experience the game. And very important, the legendary drop rate, which was formerly boosted in the other events, is now as it's going to be on release. So if you actually want to figure out for yourself, do I enjoy this game in this way now, with less legendaries, the fixed dungeons and other shenanigans and nerf characters? Perfect way to test if you really want to spend these 70, 80, or even 90 bucks for the additions. Very important, even if you played the early events, there's something new you can do or new you can gain. We all know the world boss Ashava. Big guy comes out, slides to swing around, poison going out. Interestingly enough, you could get level 25 before, now you can get only level 20. So Ashava will be harder than ever. But if you actually kill Ashava, there's a new thing coming, and it's the Cry of Ashava Mount Trophy. Now, for some of you, that might be completely uninteresting, but hey, I do like to get my goodies, and especially exclusives goodies that you can only earn during these events. Very good thing though, if you missed the open beta and the early access and all the other events, you can earn the rewards from there too. The Reaching Kavachot title, Reaching Level 20 title, the Beta Wolfpack cosmetic item, and obviously the Cry of Ashava mount. The early download starts on May the 10th, so you can already pre-download the game there. And again, it is open beta, so you do not have to own the game, you can just play. Now about the updates. When it came down to dungeon layouts, people complained a lot about the layout of certain dungeons, and they listen. They streamlined them more and optimized the way how you go through them so that you don't have to go back this much. Because sometimes it really came to the point that you were going through the whole dungeon, you have every single thing covered, and then there was a tiny crevice where the one quest reward was, and you had to backtrack all the way, and then go all the way back again to actually get to the dungeon boss, which was obviously absolutely annoying. To reduce the need to backtrack, small numbers of straggling monsters will seek out the player to help complete the kill all monster objective, and that's fantastic. I'd rather have monsters come from all corners at me than having to search for every single little Jimmy, Timmy, and Dave around there. Also, the actual depositing of animus that you gathered from slain enemies or the rescue of imprisoned prisoners, is also time there reduced so you don't just spend that much time in these menus and everything goes a bit smoother offhand. Most importantly, while carrying ancient statues, bloodstones, mechanical boxes, or stone carvings, where you had to get 2 or 3 in some dungeons, you actually move 25% faster. That's great because you know you had to go in all the corners, backtrack back, activate, fight the boss. Now you can at least zoom around. Some general updates to classes, and yes, some stuff got nerfed. First and foremost, many legendary powers have had updates to their effectiveness and reviewed class skills to confirm that all classes have access to sufficient skills that remove control impairing effects, which is incredibly important for hardcore players to not just randomly die to a freeze. For the people that felt the Barbarian was a little bit weak, a flat 10% passive damage reduction has been added for the Barbarian class, so it takes less damage overall. The Whirlwind skill now deals more damage and consumes more fury, and the Double Swing skill enhancement refunds its full fury cost when used on stunned or knocked down enemies, making the Barbarian a more unstoppable terrain. The Druid felt kinda weak and useless. Now companion skills will deal heavily increased damage, all ultimate skills have had their cooldowns reduced, usability improvements have been made to Maul and Pulverize, which is great. Using a non-shapeshifting skill will transform a Druid back into their human form. Oh, that's cute, so you use a non-shape and you go back and then you go Druid. Yeah, that's even more shapeshifting around. Or the Necromancer, which was absolutely broken, especially when you got for the Pool of Blood, Corpse Explosion build. Summon minions will die more often, requiring players to utilize corpses more often. Many bonus of the book of death had their stats increased. The damage dealt by the Corpse Explosion skill has been reduced, still good. And the brightness of the Skeleton Warriors and Mages has been reduced. For the Rogue, upgrades to Subterfuge skills have their bonus increased, multiple passive skills had their bonus increased, and all imbuement skills have had their cooldown increased. So the Rogue gets a min-max balancing. And now for the Sorcerer, which also was super strong with the Flame Hydra. Charged bolts damage was increased and the mana cost has been decreased. That's interesting. Decreased the damage of Chain Lightning and reduces effectiveness against bosses. That's rude because that was my Chain Lightning build. Decrease the cooldown for the Incinerate skill's enchantment bonus. Firewalls will now spawn underneath enemies more frequently when using its enchantment bonus. Thank you. Increase the lucky hit chance for the Meteor skill's enchantment bonus. What about Flame Hydra being completely broken? Now, you might not have much interest for the tiny intricacies of the min-maxing and the tiny buffs and bonuses, but it just shows that the Diablo 4 team is at it. They're doing minimal bug fixes. They are streamlining the game. They're making sure that it's a good experience to play. And I think that is something very important to have an eye on and not forget when we're looking at this, because Diablo 4 is supposed to be a game that is here for the next X years to come. And we want the team to be dedicated and really engaged into its development and also take our community feedback, which is incredibly important. I mean, some people in the community don't know what they effing want, but it's at least good that they're hearing the voice of the people. Now, again, if you're just playing the game completely alone, don't care about character balance. If you're not playing anything online, if you don't care about any leaderboard grind or whatsoever, just play what you enjoy playing. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out how broken the Necromancer truly was and still probably is. Such a fun class to play, which will be my hardcore journey character.